Being the composer, of course, I suppose it traditionally means taking the principal role in writing the work. But Gentle Giant was a very collaborative process, starting back when we first came up with the idea. Paul Reeve, who is now head of education, and Paul asked me if I would like to write an opera for young people for the Royal Opera House. And we discussed various stories. In fact, I think we considered 8 or 10 before we came up with Gentle Giant, which is a short book by Michael Morpurgo, but there were many things about it which we felt would make an ideal opera for young people. Gentle Giant has got a number of aspects to it which make it absolutely perfect for an opera, make it perfect for an opera for children. One, and firstly and very importantly, it's got some well-defined characters. The hero is a girl. The people are very recognisable. It's about a community, and it also deals with issues which we felt that children and their parents, but children in particular, would be interested in. In this particular case, there are, if you like, environmental issues where a pristine part of the country ends up by being damaged by people's greed and avarice. Opera is often thought of as being very difficult for kids. I've always thought that's complete nonsense. Children, and my experience of children, the two things they enjoy a lot are having stories read to them and being sung to. Opera combines those two things perfectly. What you must do, though, is make sure they can understand the words so as they can follow the story, or else children will simply turn around to the person next to them and say, "What did he say?" And so they lose concentration. There is a huge amount of preparatory work and support from the education department, both directly in schools and with workshops that are available to members of the public and families. Essentially means, in the case of Gentle Giant, there are one or two moments. There is a song, for instance, which the work song, when all the cast members, all the people in the village are cleaning up the lake that's polluted. There is a work song.
1, 2, 3.
Take some straw, spread it around, weave it together, stamp it down, now you made a mat. Roll it on the water, shake hands, and that's
I know the education team work on that in schools and when they do their workshops with the public. This means that we sometimes get the audience joining in with us, which is an extraordinary experience. But after the cast heard that happening once or twice when we did the first run of Gentle Giant, they discovered they quite enjoyed it and rather encouraged the audience to join in. And one or two of them said, "Wouldn't it be extraordinary if that happened more often in opera?" Actually, I don't think anybody who likes opera would be disappointed. It doesn't make compromises operatically. There are the same demands on the singers, the same demands on the musicians. You can see the musicians, by the way. The musicians are very much part of the set, and they're there all the time. It's a very, very good introduction to opera for young people because they can see how opera is made, and also at just under an hour long, it's exactly the right sort of length for young people. It's like a fairy tale with a happy ending, except it's a contemporary fairy tale with, if you like, an environmental aspect. But like all fairy tales, we can never be absolutely sure whether they'll live happily ever after.